Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. Before we get going, don't forget, join the group, my private group, through daixrp.com, which is the Patreon, or click join right here below all my YouTube videos if you would like to join through YouTube instead. Today, you know, for years now, we've been hearing people talk about a potential flip the switch moment for XRP. I'm going to tell you what I think that moment actually is in the group today. And I do think that there is a flip the switch moment. I wanted to show you this. I told you Caleb and Brown is my new partner. This is a neat function that they have, scheduled orders, where you can actually, pull, there's a pull down and you can decide, you can say, I want to buy 50 XRP every week. And you can actually set orders to just kind of accumulate like that. It's a pretty cool feature. If you want to open an account and you want to have institutional custody and an actual person, a broker you can talk to and, you know, find out what kind of strategies they use, you need to go open your Caleb and Brown account. I made it easy. Go to xrpwealth589.com and it'll forward you to my Caleb and Brown page and you can click sign up today. I did it. I've got my stuff ready to go. Reminder, 25 days out from XRP Las Vegas. I am now in clothes shopping mode. I've got to go find, I've involved my wife in this thing because if I order a shirt or anything on my own, she will remind me that she doesn't like it. And so I put it in her hands. I said, you buy the shirts, but I need 3 of them. And so we are going to these. I have to go to the dry cleaner. I have to start thinking about all this stuff now because this thing is coming close. Go to xrplasvegas.com to get your tickets. And we have blown away last year's record, all records. Market's kind of boring. We're sitting here just below 3 trillion. But when the switch flips, don't you worry, it's on. Coin Bureau bullish. There's a growing number of XRP whales as per Glassnode chart record high addresses holding 10K plus XRP surpassing 300K, signaling strong investor confidence. Is this the precursor to major price move? Now, there was an earlier version of this Raoul Pal thing going around before, but this gave a better close-up than what I recall seeing, and I added a little bit more of what he said in here. This first part is very interesting.
We're nowhere near. Our cycle top indicator is a long way away from anywhere. In fact, we're at very subdued levels, much like we had in 2013 before the largest bull run of all time. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that, but I'm just saying, probabilistically speaking, things are very positive going forwards. I see no reason for any fear. Finally, the fabled banana zone chart. The construct is the same. It's not a mystery. It is a repeat of the debt cycle. They are rolling the debts. They are doing the same thing. Each cycle is not to do with a halving cycle, nothing to do with any of that. It's all driven by liquidity cycle and funding of debts. Each phase, we get phase 1 of the banana zone, banana number 1. The corrective zone, banana number 2 comes. Another correction, banana number 3. So this is the banana zone. So that's what happened in 2020, 2021. Off we go. Sorry, that was 2017, which again looked very similar to this one. That was the last one. Here we are now. It can't be clearer to me. I've shown you the macro evidence, the technical evidence, the sentiment evidence. Everything here suggests to me that hold on to your hats. Don't fuck this up. Don't lose control of your tokens. Don't use leverage. Don't get your wallet hacked. Just sit with it. Be careful. Don't get FOMO. Do all of the right things, and we'll go up to the next phase of corrections. That's going to be harder because the next one that happens, we'll have a 35% drop, and you'll all say, "Is it over?" And you'll definitely be sure it's over. And everybody on Twitter will tell you it's over, and it won't be over. By our work, we suggest that because of the elongation of the business cycle, because rates were higher for longer, the forward-looking liquidity suggests that, again, probabilistically speaking, without any guarantees, this whole thing goes into Q1, maybe Q2 of 2026, which would align with Trump's, trying to win the midterms as well. So everything's lined up for us. I think it started. So keep the faith.
All right. I agree with him. It's coming. And all the Bitcoin marketing gurus are out. But when they say Bitcoin, I think XRP.
You should think of Bitcoin as a coiled spring, just ready to explode higher.
Always like to talk about Bitcoin going parabolic.
Technically, Bitcoin's classified as a commodity, and that's the one that's really been showing somewhat divergent strength lately.
If you zoom out, you tend to see the kind of longer-term fundamental thesis of something like Bitcoin.
And if Bitcoin becomes an asset that's held by governments, by corporations, by institutions, I see no reason why it won't meet parity with gold.
It's giving us signals of a great reset.
Man, it sure is coordinated. I'm gonna, you know what? Yeah, I'll play this. Kathy
And then
Wood.
finally, always like to talk about Bitcoin to gold. And again, gold going parabolic did take this ratio down, but you'll notice that it did not break the uptrend that is in place and that we think will remain in place. Bitcoin did act more as a risk-on asset in the market's recent correction. It behaved like the NASDAQ, unlike gold. But we believe that it was just correcting to this trend line because the Bitcoin price went up so much more than the gold price last year. So we think that this trend line will continue to move up. If we're right, that we're moving back into a risk-on environment. Now, the gold, why did gold act as risk-off, but Bitcoin not do so? I just described one reason. Bitcoin was way ahead of the gold price, so that is one reason. But I think the other reason is we weren't in a financial collapse like 08, 09. And the banking system or the counterparty risk in the banking system was not called into question. So we think the flight to safety into gold was more of a, hey, let's readjust and get this back into some kind of trend line.
All right, and then we have now. This is pretty interesting. This is an older clip, I think, from. I'm drawing a blank on her name, but she was on Ripple's board early on. Susan. It'll pop in my head in a minute, but listen to what she says.
We keep hearing about tokens all the time these days. Where do tokens fit into all of this?
Well, so I mean, the Bitcoin is the token for that ecosystem, and XRP is the token for the the ledger. I think one of the ways people are kind of like this have this idea of a token economy, and since I'm actually really a marketplace expert, this crypto thing is a relatively new thing. But I'm on the boards of Lending Club and Expedia and Rover, which are marketplaces. So I've got a lot of people coming into my office pitching me these like marketplace economies, where the idea is that you give your medical data, then somebody's going to pay you in a token. You hold the token. Now you want to get other people to join the system, so your token will get more valuable, and then that will grow. Or the tokens might also replace like frequent flyer miles or other types of ideas. So there's all these ideas about sort of businesses that are built on top of blockchains with tokens that are specific to the business. And then there becomes a little economy in those tokens, and everybody wants to make it grow, and they're all invested in the success of the business. So, in some level, that's how Bitcoin started. So you can't say that the idea doesn't make any sense, and it can make sense. But the hard part with all of those things is just getting them started. They all face a chicken and egg problem. And unless you have a good business, those tokens are just nothing.
They need liquidity. This is Smoke doing a rare appearance. This is him talking. He's talking about institutional investors and whatnot.
I would say the number one indicator that institutions are accumulating the same altcoins like XRP, XLM, HBAR is that they're surveyed. They're simply X. They say what assets specifically that they're most bullish on and that they're invested into. And I actually posted before, there's a recent documentation from Ernst & Young, Pantheon, and Coinbase that was released that said, I would say almost 80% of institutional investors are exposed to altcoins outside of Bitcoin and ETH, meaning that the reason for the inflows into XRP compared to other cryptocurrencies during this recent downturn was most recently as a result of the Hidden Road acquisition, which has been touted as a once-in-a-lifetime deal, simply because it makes Ripple the first crypto-native firm to operate and own a global prime broker, which is like a really big deal and is set to become finalized in the coming months. This is when we're discussing where we're talking about a global prime broker that moves $2 trillion a year or $2 to $3 trillion a year. The deal will allow Hidden Road to exponentially expand using Ripple's balance sheet. So the deal will definitely unlock significant growth regarding traditional systems and blockchain systems. But most importantly, it will supercharge XRP's utility.
There you go. This is a good little reminder about XRP's privileged position.
People are going to have different use cases and different demands and needs. And the XRP has a privileged place on the XRP ledger. Through pathfinding, always looks for XRP liquidity first. The auto bridging causes trades to automatically look at XRP liquidity where they don't automatically look at any other liquidity. So XRP is always going to have a privileged place as a bridge asset on the XRP ledger, and the stablecoin ecosystem is not going to change that. It's just going to enable more use cases.
There, he just said it all, folks. Look at this. Trump's crypto-friendly stance is drawing global firms to the U.S., according to Financial Times. Deribit, OKX, Nexo, Wintermute, and DWF Labs are among the latest exploring market expansion. 14 straight days of XRP net outflows, and the price is still holding 220, right around there. Last time it went 14 days on outflows, the price then reversed and went from 205 to 329 over 18 days. I'll take that. Here's John Deaton. I'll play just a little bit of it, but I've heard whispers John Deaton may be running for governor of Massachusetts, and I don't know if that's why he's going out and speaking.
Families cannot afford homes. Young people can't move out. Retirees are forced to leave. It takes 2 or 3 jobs for some folks just to keep the lights on. And it's not just about bad policy. It's a betrayal of what Massachusetts represents. We're the cradle of liberty, man. The birth.
Good stuff. I hope he does run. Eventually John's going to win. I think he's going to be a pretty powerful dude. I'll vote for him. I mean, of course, I can't vote in Massachusetts, but maybe if he'll run for president one day, I'll vote for him. Warren Buffett says it might be a good idea to own a lot of other currencies besides the U.S. dollar. I've got one. Look at this. This is interesting. Meet the early Ripple team. These are the architects of the XRPL. It says, our team of cryptographers, security experts, distributed network developers, Silicon Valley, Wall Street veterans, blends experience from the likes of Apple, Boku, Elon, Fiserv, Flipboard, Goldman Sachs, Google, Jumio, Microsoft, NASA, the New York Fed, the NSA, Square, Twitter, in the early days of Bitcoin. You mean the Four Satoshis early days? Look at this. I've told you before, I was a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley back in 2001-ish. I was a financial advisor for about 3 years at Morgan Stanley. And I have a story about that I'm not allowed to talk about on YouTube. I'll tell you when we go into the group. The gist of it. Remember, Morgan Stanley has stated that adopting a Ripple-like payment system could shorten settlement periods, speed up transactions, and reduce the risk of fraud. Morgan Stanley considers Ripple to be a leading international payment alternative to SWIFT, and there it is right there, folks. All right, I don't want to go too long here. We'll go in the group. What is the flip the switch moment? I think I know. And there's some other stuff, some Elon Musk stuff, some Starlink stuff we'll go over. Remember to join the Patreon. Go to daixrp.com to join through the Patreon, or you can click the join button below any of my YouTube videos if you'd prefer to join through YouTube. I am the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Here we go.